The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and good afternoon. This is Miguel Cebollero hosting the Business Intelligence Data Warehouse virtual chapter. Today's speaker will be Sunil, and Sunil is speaking on SSRS 2016 and then mobile BI on any device. As you have questions, please post them up on the questions tab in the GoToMeeting webinar section, and I will make sure and pass those questions on to Sunil. This webcast will be recorded and posted out to our YouTube channel at a later time. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Sunil, and we can get started. All right, Sunil, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
It's yours.
Yeah. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep, looks good. You're broadcasting now.
Okay, cool. Okay. Let me start my PowerPoint. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this web session. And as Miguel mentioned, today we'll talk about SSRS 2016 and primarily focusing on their mobile BI enhancements and changes. My name is Sunil Kadimdiwan, and here's the kind of the brief agenda. I'll introduce you a little bit to SSRS 2016. Again, as I said, I'm going to focus mostly on the mobile BI side, and I'll demo one of the SSRS sites. This is RC1. As you probably mostly know that it's not a released product yet, but it's been coming along pretty good, I think. And once I'm done with that, I'll develop some samples so you get a feel for how to do this, go about doing this. And as Miguel mentioned, questions, you can post them, and we'll do my best to answer them for you. If I cannot answer them, then I'll take them down and note them down and provide a feedback as soon as possible. This is me, Sunil. I've been working in SQL Server pretty much from the beginning, but my focus mostly has been on the BI side, either reporting services, analysis services, and that's been my focus. And I'm quite a frequent speaker at SQL Saturdays, mostly in the New England region. I'm based in close to Boston area, and these are my way to contact me. But again, we'll post all that later. So just to get started, as I said, reporting services has been enhanced quite a bit for 2016, and one of the components that were added is the mobile report publisher, or a way to publish mobile reports. And I just want to walk through some of the slides before I go to the demo side and development side. So essentially, it's what is mobile report publisher? It's a way to publish, create, and publish reports onto the reporting services side. And this is essentially on the Microsoft's on-premises BI offering. So it's not, it can be on the cloud like Azure server, but in general, you can do this kind of inside your company environment. And it's been available since SQL Server 16 CTP2, and I'm currently using RC1 for this session. And so what has happened is, we are integrating web-based and mobile reports into the reporting server portal. And again, I'll demo all this, as we go along. And there are also drill-through reports. And essentially, this is, if people are familiar with Microsoft's acquisition of DataZen technology, probably about a year back, and this is taking the data and technology and integrating with reporting services, which is quite a big, to me it's very helpful from my perspective, especially for folks to kind of use this technology. You don't have to worry about a new technology called as DataZen. Most companies by now have SQL Server and reporting services kind of approved products in-house. So it's a big help to kind of get going on this world. So, and essentially what has happened is there are two types of reports now. One is the old reports, the existing reports. They're now called as paginated reports, and they have the same look and feel as before. There are some changes in there, but I'm not going to focus on that today. But essentially the mobile reports, it kind of misleading the word, but they work very well on desktop also, and also they work on tablet and mobile smartphone devices. And I think that's probably where the name comes in. And the nice thing about it is you design once and you can use it across all the platforms, and the server recognizes where is the request coming from. Personally, I've connected using iPad and iPhones. I haven't used the Androids yet, but when DataZen, I tried with DataZen, I've tried with every device possible, and that has worked. On the SSRS, I tried only these two, but I am assuming it's going to all work fine. The one thing I want to mention is this is really geared towards visualizations. There's no real data modeling or query writing features here, but that's essentially, it's also the nice thing about it. You don't have to worry about what's going on behind the scenes. Our goal is to just keep the data sets ready and consume the data sets, actually, not even keep the data sets ready. Again, as I walk through some of these demos, you'll see it. So I'll kind of stop now at this point on the PowerPoint slide and go into my VM. And so let me connect to my VM now. And so just so maybe I should start from beginning. So I'm going to go into the reporting server manager, and that has changed a lot too. So is the how the report manager looks now. It's coming up. All right, so mainly there are we got all these KPIs on top, and then we have a whole bunch of mobile reports, and then there's the paginated reports, which essentially are the today's reports as you see them. And they all work normal as well. What I mean is the way it works today, and these are the new ones. And just so quickly I'll show you is these are the things you can display. So if I turn on the data sources, obviously data sources shows up here, and if I show data set shows up. And so I'm just going to remove them from the clutter of the screens. So just quickly, one thing I want to show you, these are the old kind of reports, right? And again, I won't focus much on this, but just wanted to show you that the existing functionality still exists, and it hasn't been taken away.
Hey, Sunil, while we're waiting on this to come up really quick, do you know if they have documentation on customizing the look and feel of your reporting services site, or is this just a standard template like it was before in the previous versions?
Well, there is a section for branding, and I know I've seen demos of it or articles on it, but I personally have not tried it, and that is probably the way to go, and brand the site for your look and feel. So this is just the normal report as I was mentioning, and So if that helps, I didn't get to the branding part of it, but I know branding is possible, which is the customization you're referring to. So
Perfect.
Yeah. So that was the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yep. Couple more questions really quick here. Will is the DataZen publisher available in this version?
No, I don't think DataZen publisher will work, but what Microsoft has is something called as a mobile report publisher, which is again is freely available, and that's what you're going to be using, and I'll demo that in a minute. So
okay, very good.
I don't think DataZen publisher will work, but I do want to mention that when you bring down the DataZen publisher, I'm going to assume it's still available. I would still bring it down, because one of the things I see in the DataZen, the original product or the old product which I downloaded about a year back, there are a lot of samples there which are very, very handy to work with. And you know, if you know, one good way to learn about what's going on with the mobile publisher and how the mobile reports work, you can actually walk through some of those, or kind of click around and see what's going on. And I think that's one really good way to learn this whole new technology. So
okay, very good. Thank you.
okay, so let me run one of these, I'm using AdventureWorks. That's the database most of us are familiar with. And what happens is, this is the dashboard I built using the new mobile report publisher. And as you can see, this is on top is a time, and here are a couple of kind of filters or drop downs, and here's the sales by country, and here's the sales by currency, and this is the kind of a gauge to show you can do comparisons. But the really nice thing about this is everything is linked together. So when I click on the last year, you can see that everywhere it changed to that 34 million, and now I go 14 million, and everywhere it changed. And also here, let's say I pick only one product line, and now you can see again the whole thing changes. And these two are linked together, like connected drop downs. So now that I have bikes, I can just say road bikes, and obviously everything kind of goes down that way. So all of them are connected to each other.
Very good.
And that's, I think, to me, that's the very nice part about it, because the audience for this dashboard, as I see it, is really for kind of people who don't have a lot of time to spend on this, just want to get the gist of what's going on in their company and kind of work with it. So now I'm going to do is, I'm just going to pick April and May, and you can see that on top it changes April and May 2015, and it's bikes and road bikes, and this is how it's kind of displays. So the usage of this is very, very easy, and that's what it's supposed to be. And so the other thing about these is, I'm going to double click on Canada, and I'm hoping the drill through will come through. Okay, here it is. So this is like, if you want to put together detailed reports for what is going on in Canada with all the sales and subcategories and all. And all the filters from the above report gets kind of transferred, or they get passed down. So you can see that at least the country-wise, it came down that way. And you can see that April, May, which is what I selected, that also came down. So you can link many reports like this, and also there's a way to link to like a generic website, and you can probably call either other types of reports, or maybe go to a website, whichever works for you. So this is in general how the report works. And another view, so what I did was I kind of created, started with this one, and you could see that I could go here, and you can just go directly to that report too. The other view could be useful to see is I have this map, which is also another way to show your data. And again, all these are kind of connected. So if I click on this one, a lot of that is probably not showing very well. Maybe that's because of my sample, the changes. But you can see that at the bottom of my the screen, the numbers are changing, which usually means that things are changing. I probably didn't do a great job of creating the sample with really nice color combinations, but it's definitely working as you can see from the thing. One other thing I want to show you here is these 3 reports are created with SQL Server, and you can also create with Excel itself on your desktop. So this report is created by the data on Excel. Not that it makes a huge difference for the user, but I'm just saying that for somebody who wants to do all this kind of development of dashboard and see their data, they don't necessarily have to connect to not just SQL Server, any server, database server. You can always say, hey, I have some Excel files, I want to kind of figure out how it looks. I can do some really nice dashboards together. And that probably is very handy, especially if you want to do kind of demos or something, and you just have your laptop. But the publisher works with just the local data, which was the case also with DataZen technology. So it's just a lot of these features are carried over. There's some obviously differences, but you can see that it kind of works the same way.
So Sunil, let me interrupt you for a minute, have a handful of questions here.
Yep.
A couple of questions around Power BI.
Yep.
One of the drop downs, one of the options was to select Power BI. Are you able to upload Power BI reports into SSRS and essentially leverage what you may have already done previously and upload them into SSRS?
Yeah, I honestly have not tried that, but what I know we can do it because you can see that those are here in the you can do Power BI desktop reports and Excel workbooks. So I know even though I have checked here, they're not showing up here, but I definitely have seen many articles on that possible. So I didn't do that here. I should probably should have put some reports here. So personally, I have not done that, but it should be possible. What I have tried is, as I mentioned, I've downloaded the Power BI mobile version for iPad and iPhone. And actually what happens there is, I have a screenshot, I'll show you. Yeah, this is the screenshot. So when I brought down the Power BI mobile app for the iOS, I actually get like this kind of a window or options. So one is I can connect to the Power BI, which is kind of on the web, right? Where it's sort of some companies are okay with that, some companies are not okay with that. But this is the other thing which I've seen is connecting directly to a reporting services server, obviously SQL Server 2016, and then it's pretty much under your control, not sort of Microsoft's control, which is what Power BI is. So so that's what I have done. I have not put together Power BI reports which link up to this one.
And did you have to download or install any special add-ins to get that Power BI option in there, or was it just the release candidate 1 and it showed up in your instance?
I have not installed anything. No, it's all release candidate 1. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that for the actual release, it will probably be a complete install. So.
Yeah, I've seen progress. As I mentioned, I've been using this one since CTP 3.2, I guess, or 3.1. And, as it kept going forward, probably RC1, as you can imagine, the most complete in terms of features. And I can kind of see that, it's going forward better. Yeah, I hope so. And I'll show you in the VM that, it's got a lot of things all built in. So as you can see, when I say new, I can, all this was not there in until RC1, like especially the mobile report was not there. And even data set creation was like the regular, the old report builder link was there on the screen. Those are all kind of coming together nicely, I think, because otherwise we had to bring, download mobile report separately, report builder separately, everything was separate. But once RC1 got released, everything is inside the report manager. So I can see the progress happening. And there are some things still not very good, but I'm assuming, as the release goes up, it will get better. So, yeah. Did I answer the question, Miguel?
Yes, I think we're good for now. Go ahead.
Cool. All right. So now what I'm going to do is, now that you saw a flavor of what is possible, for one last thing before I go into the develop mode, here are the KPIs, and if when I click on the KPIs, you can see that, you can see more details of it. But the other thing about, I think that this one, maybe I did that. Yeah, so I can take a KPI and link it up to the reports. So as I'm showing, okay, this is the key performance indicator status, I can go into another report. I don't know if it's exactly linked in this case, but you can say that, oh, okay, this report gives me more information, and as I said, the drill down ability will give you more information. So it's almost like, I want to start off with giving a snapshot to the users, give them enough information. I want to go to the next level. I want to go to the next level. So at some level, I can get it done in like 2-3 minutes, or I can keep, drilling down, and then obviously the regular old style reports are also there. So we got, I think, to me, it's all coming together pretty nicely. So what I'm going to do now is, as I mentioned, I have the data sets set already, and I'll come to that if time permits at the end on, data set creation is pretty, nothing new about it, but let me go into the mobile report mode so that I'll show you how to go about building a report, which I'm just about to do that. So number one, as you can see, it's obviously a empty canvas kind of thing, and here you can pick how many grids you want. You want more, you want less. As you can see, it kind of keeps changing, and that's pretty easy to kind of use. One of the things about this, as I said, it's all about how you want to show the display. I mean, the data visualization. That's the key about this product. In terms of creating the data, that's sort of somebody else's job. Not in a wrong way, but I'm just saying, that is not part of what this product does. So here is the kind of the time or the date you can think about, right? Time navigator, they call it. So here you can see that what is the breakdown you want, you can pick, and here are all the things you want to see, whether you want all, last year, this year, you can go last 3 months, and immediately there's that another button, right? So it's all kind of very, very visual kind of indicators. So you always want to have, obviously, a time navigator in your report by and large, I guess. And the other thing, you can do is the selection list, which is basically, you know, a drop down for you. And in a minute I'll go into the other side of the story. But then you can say, oh, you know, I can take a progress bar maybe and put it in here, and you can expand it. And again, very, very important about this product is no matter how many squares, how many columns, you know, how many of these you have, the view of these is really, really, really fantastic from my perspective, because, you know, whether I have, you know, right now I have 3 by 3, whether I go like this, you can see that the visual aspect of these objects is very nicely retained. And so I'm just going to drag a couple more objects here, and then we can kind of go into more details, right? So I guess this is similar to what I have, but maybe I can shrink this a little bit more. So you can see how it's all coming together. And then maybe I'll bring this one also, which is, I just know that the data is going to work well with this, so I'm bringing the same object so that, you know, I don't spend much time on the data aspect of it. So the other thing is, so now if I step into this one, you can see that I have a bar, I have a line, or, you know, other things are the area, step area, you know, everything. So I'm just going to keep the bar for now. And as I showed you, this drop down does the, you can pick what you want to see here. And then similarly, all these objects work that way. The next important thing you need to worry about is you go to this data tab. And again, very nice thing about the data in itself, and they've continued this with the mobile report publisher. It comes with sample data. So what it means is if I drag the objects here, right, it shows me some data. You know, obviously it's not your data, but the fact that you will see that if I had category A, B, C, D, E, how will it look? You know, or if I go here and say instead of vertical, I want to make it horizontal, and you can immediately see what it will look like. And that's what this sample data is very useful for. And you can do a lot of your development or design with almost no connection to any data at all. And the data is to me, it looks pretty good, you know, at least to get going, right? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my data or AdventureWorks, right? So the minute I clicked on add data, I wanted to show you how to connect to the server in a minute, but now I can go to a local Excel file, or I can go to a report server, right? And this is my local server. You could have multiple connections here, but I'm connecting here, and all it's doing is really, if there were folders in this particular report server, it would have shown me the folders. But in this case, I don't have a folder, but it just shows me all the data sets which are out there. And you know, developing data sets, we have done this for years and years, so nothing dramatically new about that. I mean, there are some features which are probably good, but I'm just going to select one of the data sets which is out there. And now you can see that I have my data set, kind of the AdventureWorks, the bikes and all. One thing I don't know still yet is, I don't know why it creates two, but I'm assuming, you know, when RC1 moves forward, you know, we won't have these double, or maybe there's a reason. It doesn't make sense to me. DataZen never used to do this, so I'm assuming they'll clean it up sometime. Well, what I mean is Microsoft. So let me go to these objects. So the thing to work is I dragged in all these objects. So I want to assign my data to all these objects, right? So I'm here on the time navigator, and I'm going to go and say, I'm just going to pick the first one. I don't know what the second one is. And here is the, what do I want to show? You know, as I'm going to keep it as simple. Okay, let's keep moving forward. So I could have picked more than one, but let's kind of stop at that. And now, one of the things you will see is now that I have connected my time navigator to my data set, and then I've stuck in my sales amount as the thing to display, I'm hoping that you will see the data for the AdventureWorks, right? And I don't know, for most of us who have worked with AdventureWorks for years and years, we see that kind of reseller sales is about 80 million, which is, I know, it's kind of, I know my data, right? So you can see that all is there and this is there and everything kind of works perfectly, right? So now let me go to the next one. And the other one I want to do is maybe now connect my the drop down with this one. So again, I'm going to pick my data source, right? And maybe I can pick a currency key as the key, and now automatically you can have the key and the display, right? As we always do in most reporting services. And the very key thing nice thing about this now is, so now I go in options, it says, do you want the navigator, the time navigator, to be linked to this one? And normally we do. So if we say link that way. The other thing about this one is so now we got that. Now I'm going to go here and link it up to currency key also. So the whole table is kind of filtered by that way. And so again, I can keep going back to preview, but let me keep going forward, right? So now I'm going to click on this chart, right? And again, I'm going to do that. The chart is, maybe I want to show it by country, and what do I want to show in the chart? Let's stick to something which is going to work easily. And now I got these, but the nice thing about this is now I go to options. I want the filtering to happen by time and the selection. So if I choose currency of whatever, Canadian dollars, I want to make sure, or euro, only those particular sales kind of show up for me, right? The other thing is, I can go here. Now I can choose whether it's a sum I want a count, min, max, many of these very common aggregates are here, right? So that's the, again, nice thing about this. So now I'm going to go as quickly here so that I have many more features to show you. So if I pick the pie chart, again, same thing here. Yeah, this part, okay, so let's see if that works, right? So, and then again, same thing here. I don't know if maybe I didn't pick something right, but that's, let me go back to that later. And now with this one, I'm going to pick sales amount. The next one is that, and maybe cost. So it will show me comparison between the two in this case. So now that I've linked everything together, I'm not sure exactly what's happening with the pie chart, but let me move forward a bit, and then I'll come back to that in a minute. So now you can see that the progress bar is also showing 80 million. This pie chart is showing 80 million, and then all these eventually hopefully will show me 80 million, right? The other thing, as I showed you in the demo, now it's all linked, all of them, right? All the objects are kind of linked with how I'm selecting the time. Now if I pick euro, as we can expect, France and Germany are the two countries with euro, and may not be a best example for the demo, but you can see that United Kingdom is the UK pound, and I can choose all, and then it goes back to that, right? So you can see that how the progress is happening on this report, and you probably spend maybe 10 minutes on this. So you already have a very decent report to kind of display. So let me see, what did I do wrong here? Maybe by rows will help me. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time on one object, but you can see the gist of what's going on, right? And yeah, that's what it was. So the next thing is, it's not the simulated table. I want that. Category, that's the product category. I should have spelled it more, but you can see that I'm getting both of them there. And again, I want to link it up to those. You can do, again, sum, average, whatever you want. So now all these objects are linked together. And just one more little quick preview, and you can see that how that is all coming together based on the product category, right? And so again, you can keep enhancing these things. So if I go back to the layout and say now, I have the pie chart, show legend is off, but if I pick show legend is on, now you can see the legend, right? And the other things you can do is you can change these titles. So you can say sales, by product. And the other thing is there's a subtitle also if you want to do it that way. I know this may not be a perfect example, but you can see that the color combination may not be happening. Oh, here it is. So you can see sales by product category, So the title or the subtitle for that particular object is also, you can control it, right? Now, the next thing you may want to do is, change the name of the report, right? So we can say, April 4th report. So that's the name of that, right? So I got that. And one of the things I want to point out, at least to me, it didn't work in the new Microsoft version of it. This effective date was working in DataZen very well. Basically, like if you have old data, you can shift your timeline to be 2009, 2010, 2008, and it used to work very well. But anyway, just I'm pointing out things which probably I don't want to take much time on that. So let me kind of save this report. Again, you can save it locally, or you can go and save it on the server, right? And as you can see, the name is April 4th report, and that's the server. And I'm going to browse if I want to put it in different folders. Right now, I don't have many folders, so I'm just going to go with that. Well, it's the root, right? And once I save, the report is published, so I'm going to say OK. And that is the report, right? So if I go to my report manager now, close this guy. If I'm going to refresh, hopefully the April 4th report will be there, right? All right, here we go. That's the April 4th report. And if I run it, because the data set is linked to that particular one, as you can see, the report kind of works, right? So it's pretty quick, and it's very, to me, it's very, conveys the message very nicely and quickly. So now that we got like the initial version or a pretty decent version working, you can see we'll keep enhancing this one as we go forward. I don't know, Miguel, if you have other questions I should field now or later, or
Yeah, no, I think we're doing pretty good here. The only other one that I see on here that's a little different is one question around connecting 2016 to previous versions of SQL, meaning potentially like an SSAS 2012 cube versus having to upgrade the cube. I don't know if you've had any experience with that yet.
I didn't try it recently. I mean, with this one, but I don't see that as an issue. Again, I want to, I didn't do that, but in general, this is essentially about any data sets you create, they all should work, because as far as this particular product goes, the mobile publisher doesn't kind of concern itself of how the data is coming in. You're just going to consume the data which is provided by the data set. So maybe if I kind of bring up one of the data sets, but the data sets are all created kind of the as we have been creating for years, and I don't see an issue, but I don't think so. It should work fine.
Okay. Okay, good. And then as far as like subscriptions or sending out reports based on data changes or anything like that, is that all kind of working the same as in previous versions?
Yeah, it should be. There are some enhancements. It seems, again, I've tried the subscription, but I know it all works the way it should. So let me go into the properties of this one, and maybe we'll see some of the options there. So if I go to the manage, right, number one, you can see that there is security. So you can establish whatever security you want on this, right? Who can see, who cannot see, which is the same as before, right? And I don't know if there's subscription for these reports. And honestly, I've not tried that. And then, you can also edit your mobile report right there. So if I were to kind of close this one, which is hanging around, I can just go back here and continue the editing of that report.
Okay. One more question here, and then we'll let you continue on. One that I keep getting around updating data faster than 15 minutes. This was the lowest time in DataZen Mobile Publisher previously.
Okay. Well, this is, yeah, I'll get to that in a minute, but it's essentially what happens is the data refresh is all controlled by how you refresh your data set. And as I recall, anything in the data set, you can refresh at any frequency you want. I don't think that's any limit. I know in DataZen, they had these drop-down boxes, and you had to pick one value. And as I can see why 15 minutes was a limit for the users, because the drop-down values were like that. So let me go to the data set for a minute, as we have the question here, and I'll come back to this report in a minute. So if I were to bring up all these data sets, right? So the one we've been working with is, where did it go? This one. So if I go here, I go to manage, and here's the caching, right? And I can go to caching, and obviously this is 30 minutes, and as you mentioned, Miguel, I can make it 5 and it's fine. Or you can, that's the expiry, I'm sorry. And here you can set the schedule to be whatever you want it to be. I don't think that has much to worry about. Repeat after 1 day. I think it's all based on how many minutes and all that stuff. So yeah, as you can see, you can put any number you want, and it should work. So, yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. So let me go back to here. Really, some of the real cool, another sort of cool features here is, number one, as you can see, this report is existing, right? But the real power of this is, if I go to, see, there are 3 views here. Like, one is the master, and that obviously is your desktop. And then I go to tablet, right? So now you can see the real estate kind of little bit shrunk. And the nice thing about this is, I can put anything I want here. I don't have to pick all the objects, right? So I can pick that, you know, and lay them out whichever way I want. And that's what someone using the tablet connects to my server, they get to see this view, right? And you know, they don't have to do anything special to say, hey, I'm using a tablet or anything. The technology is smart enough to say a tablet is requesting a view of this report, and it will figure out and it will show me that view. So now here, if I go to the view, the same April 4th report, the desktop version was different, and now the, you know, the tablet view is different, right? And then, and this is really the power of, in general, the data and technology and what's been embedded into reporting services. Again, the biggest difference, as I can see, is now that it's all part of reporting services, you know, you don't have to kind of seek out how do I install DataZen, you know, and my company allows me, my sysadmins will let me do this, all that kind of questions. You know, smaller companies may not have all these things, but as you move up into larger companies, this factor is really becomes a big issue, because you know, not every product gets approved by the sysadmins or powers to be. So SQL Server, reporting services, it's all approved product. You don't have to worry about much on, especially get moving on this one, right? So the other version is I can go to phone, similar concept, you know, I'm going to go here and maybe drag that here. And obviously, you know, as we can imagine, the real estate is whatever it is, right? Because that's what smartphone will allow. That's what the tablet will allow. And so this is the view for the smartphone, right? And you can see how all three are, you know, can make them look and feel how you feel is the most relevant topic, or you know, objects to display. And you can see again, you know, you can change your grids, number of columns, and that also can be customized there. Again, the nice thing about this is, so as I go back to my master, right, and I got all these objects, right? So for, let's say, another thing about this is I can pick different palettes, right? Let me pick something which is really stands out, right? So I picked the blue, and you know, obviously my whole screen changed. But other thing to note is I go to my tablet, you know, the tablet also changed, and obviously the phone also changed. And this is what I meant in one of the bullet points in my slide, is like, you really develop once and really consume it in many ways. I do know that in DataZen, I have connected through Android, I've connected to obviously Windows, I've connected through iOS. They all work very seamlessly. In reporting services, I have definitely connected to the Windows desktop, and I've connected to the iPhones and iPad. I have not tried the other ones, but doesn't mean it doesn't work. But I just want to be kind of, you know, tell you what my experiences have been. So now we got all these three. So what we have to do is just say publish again, or save the report, and report gets published. And so now hopefully if I go back here and refresh the view, see, as you can see, you know, the blue kind of background and all came pretty quickly, or you know, as expected. So if I go back here, but at this point, what has happened though is, because I created the views for tablet and the views for smartphone, anyone who can connect to this particular report server and able to access this particular the dashboard view or the mobile report view, based on how they're connecting, they get served up that kind of view. So I know it's kind of, I showed you in the kind of the designer mode, but that's essentially what is going to happen. And that's the really nice thing about what's going on here. So, yep.
So a couple questions around the mobile.
Yeah.
One of them had to do with security. And do you know the different security options that are available when displaying mobile data out to publishing out like that on different phones?
Yeah, so what happens is when you connect to the server, which is the reporting server here, that's where you will be authenticated with username, password. So that's level 1 security. The other thing is I'm not showing it here. You can always go into the HTTPS mode and set up all that for your server. That's another thing. And maybe one other thing you can think about is in the I'll show you here. Thing to consider here is the settings. See how enable data or client data caching. I've said yes to that. So if you don't want your users to be kind of carrying around your data on their devices, you can uncheck this, and the caching on the client or smartphone or tablet will kind of essentially go away. So every time they want to look at the report, they have to connect to the server, which is essentially username, password protected. So as I know, those are the 3 things you can think of.
Okay.
And so,
very good. One more question around the mobile piece.
yep.
He asked, will the comment feature of KPIs and mobile reports return? My customers love this about DataZen.
Yeah, I know it was pretty cool. I honestly haven't seen it yet, or maybe I haven't tried hard enough to locate it. But again, I've seen jumps in terms of features as it goes forward. But although one thing I did note, when RC1 came out, they said this is feature complete, which is kind of a good and bad news. I don't know, Miguel, if that will come back, or is that something slated for something later?
Okay.
But I have not tried it. So.
Very good. Thanks.
Yep. Any other questions? Or?
Not right now.
Okay. So let me step back to my PowerPoint and see if I missed anything. So this is where we are, and if I continue, these are just screenshots I took. Again, another thing I can show you is how to connect to the server. We did this. We developed a mobile report. We published it. We did that. Reviewed that. In this one, yeah, those 2 are probably left off. I'll go through that quickly. In terms of design features, we went to the time, the gauge, the category chart, and all the dashboard settings we did, basically about the report name, and then we went through the 3 modes, between the color, and the selection list was the drop down of the currency. We did the drill through. I didn't get to work on the branding yet. There are a couple of samples out there which I need to kind of follow up and get them in, but I haven't done that yet. Yeah, that's one. I'll just keep talking about it. So let me come to this slide again later, but let me show quickly how to kind of get all this set up or get started on that side also. So I'm going to close this. So let me bring up this one. So essentially what happens is if I take that one and so that's kind of your server, and obviously, you know, username and password will come in. But let's do that for right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring up new mobile report option, and really one of the first things you want to do is kind of go here, and you know, as you can see, I already connected to that box. You know, I won't actually connect, but when you say I want to connect to the server, you're really connecting to report server right now, and this is obviously controlled at the report server level, who can connect or not. And if I do that, you know, whatever the username password is, and I don't have that, but I'm going to do that, but it probably won't be happy. I have already one connection, but essentially that's the way you connect to the server, right? And once you do that, like you'll see more of those right here. So that's the way to kind of connect. Now another thing I want to show you here is how do I create a data set, right? So if I go here, I say I want to connect to create a data set. I know I'm showing you through the report builder, but I could go to Visual Studio, and you know, I can create a report server project, and from there I can create data sets and publish them to my report server. So there are just mainly kind of nothing new about that. It's just how we've been creating data sets all along. And here, you know, if I do that, you know, it goes here. And typically I create a lot of store procedures or views before I get to this level. And you can see that I have, you know, created this one. And here you can do your painting of whatever you want to be. And that's the way to kind of create the data set. Actually, I think the other one has store procedures, so let me bring it up. Just so you see that the store procedures shows up. I think we're almost out of time. So I think in the contour, so I have that, but yeah, here you can see I have store procedures. So it works the same way as before. So I think that's about all as far as I can see the time goes. The only thing I can say is, as I mentioned, Miguel's, you know, he's going to put this particular recording, and my slides are here, but I'll send it to Miguel so he can probably put it all in one place. And I don't know how many here are part of New England area, but I have all these upcoming presentations, and if you get a chance, you can always drop by. And some of them I'll probably go more into reporting services also. This one was very focused on the mobile portion of the reporting services changes. So, and I'll take any other questions, or you know, if I cannot answer them, I'll obviously follow up with you guys. So.
Yeah, no, I think you pretty much hit on most of the questions that were out there. The one I just got was, have you tried other browsers other than IE, like Google or Safari or anything else?
I have not personally, but I've read it all over. So I'm going to try that. So I know a couple of things I got to do. This will be one of them, and the branding. So hopefully by the time I do, maybe tomorrow's or maybe definitely in June, I'll have these presentations. So no, I've not tried it, Miguel. So.
Okay, and then the last question here around whether your slides will be available. The other question that I had earlier, the code or the different samples that you were showing, is that just a standard AdventureWorks download, or is that something that you custom built reports and data sets for?
Yeah, so the only thing I changed on the AdventureWorks, I know okay, let me go back 1 second. The only thing I changed was the date, because the date wouldn't come up the way I wanted it in DataZen. Just briefly, one quick thing. I know we are almost out of time, but let me show you one thing I had to kind of accommodate for reporting services version of this. And that is why I changed the date. But otherwise, I didn't change anything on the AdventureWorks. So here, what used to happen, as we probably know, the AdventureWorks data is not current, in the sense that we don't have data for 2016, 2015, and all those things. We almost have to go, I don't know, I don't remember now, maybe 2009 or 2012 or whatever it was. So in DataZen, I was able to put this, and all my views used to work as if though I'm back in 2012. And for whatever reason, that is not working, for me at least, in the new version. So I guess short answer, I added 3 years or so to my data set. That's the only change I did. So.
Okay, very good. Hey, Sunil, thank you very much. And we will make this presentation available on our YouTube channel. And Sunil will have the presentation available on his website as well. So thank you everyone for attending. And Sunil, you have a good day. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.